Absolutely. Let's go.
Hey there, fellow crypto and metaverse folks. Welcome to the Renovi show. And now it's time for Alpha Tuesday. Today we are going to talk about the preferences of our community in the metaverse. So guys, fasten your seatbelts. Let's get this party started. I'm Jay, your host for today, and joining me, straight from the depths of Renovi, is our super cool co-founder Adonis.
How's it going, everyone? How's it going? Nice to see you all, even at this time. Well, at this time for me, I don't know about you guys. Maybe you're just waking up.
Yeah, it's early in the morning actually, here in our place.
Well, then you can have this amazing AMA and then you can go back to bed. What about that?
That would be awesome, man. So yeah, now we just had two interesting polls in our community, which we asked our
Hmm.
members about their preferred virtual environment to explore with, and how they want to interact with each other in the metaverse. So the first poll is quite interesting, Adonis. Majority or 37% voted for enchanting fantasy realm with magical creatures, while and 25% both voted for futuristic cyberpunk cityscape, and 13% for historical time period, and none voted for vibrant
Whoa.
extraterrestrial world with alien life forms. Very interesting. What is your personal choice in this, Adonis?
So nobody likes aliens, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. I was gonna say my favorite is the cyberpunk vibe for sure. I'm not so much of an enchanted dude, that's for sure. I mean, I do appreciate all the movies that are like that, 100%. But if you're asking me what, makes me interesting, what amazes me about the metaverse is the cyberpunk vibe. Especially that's why I'm in love with the game actually, Cyberpunk, and that's why I like Ready Player Me and so on. Ready Player One, sorry, not me.
All right.
Although both are good, but really interesting, really interesting. I would love to see more designs about those kinds of metaverses. Then,
Yes, for sure. That would be awesome, man. So, in another poll, we asked the community about their preference and how they would interact with each other in the metaverse. So, 50% went with cooperative multiplayer games for collaborative adventures and challenges. 37% for virtual marketplaces for buying and selling virtual assets and services, and 13% for creative collaborations for designing and building virtual spaces together. So, what are your thoughts on this?
interesting. What was the question again? Because I've missed that. I got cut off.
It's how would you prefer to interact with each other in the metaverse?
Really nice. So listen to this. Although Renovi could be categorized in the marketplace, section, um, and I think it's seriously um, needed to have a marketplace in a sense. I think I would love to interact in a gaming style rather than simply a marketplace. I think that would be my favorite personally. I know that others, of course, they would love to interact through a marketplace, but as you can see as well, I mean, most of the people are interested in the gaming mission style, as you said.
All right, thank you for your thoughts, Adonis. So, before we go into a deep dive with our amazing questions, let us first ask Adonis to give us a little update on what we can expect in this coming summer.
What can I expect in the summer? Man, I'm really excited about the summer in the sense I think this summer is all about partnerships. And I'll explain why. First of all, with regards to our token, because I've been saying summer, we're trying to get the correct market conditions and we're also trying to, uh, have all the correct partnerships before we launch in order to have a correct token launch. So that means if we if our partnership goes correct, we could launch middle to end of the summer. But at the same time, if we see that we're making a lot of progress with partnerships and we should push about a month the token launch, that's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna focus on having as many partnerships and bringing as much value to the platform as possible, but also getting the first customers out of the platform. And that's because for us right now, what we're focusing on is all about the correct testimonials, the correct use cases to make the platform workable, to find what works, what doesn't, how to improve it, and so on, and how to build on top of it. So to build more, it will be with the help of our partners. It will be with the help of more and more clients, launching correctly the platform, telling the correct story about the platform and what it does for the users. So it's that's what you should expect to see this summer. So Renovi is, I guess, this summer and towards the beginning of autumn. What you are seeing is Renovi actually transforming from just an idea into a proper business.
Ooh, very, very exciting. Thank you for that, Adonis. So, my first question is, what measures is Renovi taking to ensure data privacy and security within the metaverse, given the increasing concerns around personal information and digital identity?
Mm-hmm. Really interesting question. So I will say, with regards to data privacy and digital identity and so on, what we always say is that usually lies with the metaverse platform that we're gonna go with or we're gonna build on top of, and so on. So it is not so much a question towards Renovi as to what we do with data privacy and so on. Of course, our platform will be able to ensure the correct procedures to protect any data that we may have from our users and so on, just like any other platform should, and it should adhere to GDPR rules and regulation. That's 100% given. I mean, that I shouldn't even be discussing it. But with regards to the metaverse, that's up to the metaverse platforms and not up to us.
Nice, thank you for that, Adonis. How does Renovi envision
Of
Renovi
course.
tokens becoming an integral
Mhm.
part of the metaverse economy? And what unique features or utilities will the tokens offer to the users?
Man, I live for the day that I'm gonna see the Renovi token in a form of an index together with other tokens about the metaverse. And how do we see it working? I think the best way to describe on how we see the Renovi token working is the I always forget the word, but I always blank out when I want to use it. Governance, that's the word. We see it as a form of a governance token. Number one, that is going to allow for users to vote on certain features and the direction we would like to have with the platform. Okay. Number two, what we always say is when we have the smart contract integration and the rental platform, we want to allow users to rent with the Renovi token, okay? And we want to allow them to do microtransactions with it. And that would mean to rent for 1 day or 2 days when the amount might be too small and US dollars or fiat currency, to be more in general, wouldn't actually work that well. So those are the two main cases, which will boost obviously demand for the token. Now, there's some other interesting ideas as to subscription models and how to make a subscription model from our token, where we take the normal US price and and any fiat currency we might receive from subscriptions, and we obviously change them into our token in order to purchase any services. That would be really interesting. That will drive up the demand for our token, which will be really beneficial for everyone. Um, of course, this is not investment advice. Uh, and, and these are just some ideas. We're playing still around with the token in order to find the best utility for the platform.
Wow, I'm very excited for that, honest. Can't wait to get my hands on those precious Renovi tokens. So, can you provide insights into the governance model of the tokens?
Uh, I wouldn't be able to provide more insights because the governance models have not been decided yet. It's a bit further away, so it's not in the direct task that I need to create for now. So I will leave this question unanswered for now. Of course, that doesn't mean I'm not gonna come back and revisit this topic, double click into it, and offer more information when the time comes.
No problem. So, the next question is, can you share some examples or use cases of how individuals and businesses can leverage the metaverse to enhance their experiences, connect with others, and drive innovation?
This is the best question ever. Can I give a present to you, man, today? You should be the one. All right. I'm loving this. Okay. Number one, why do businesses want to be in the metaverse? And why do they want to leverage the metaverse? In my opinion, businesses want to be in the metaverse because they want to gain a new audience, a younger audience. And it's all the kids from 0 to 13 to 18-year olds that are now finding themselves more and more into the metaverse platforms rather than social media. Okay, and that's what's happening. Social media, of course, is for the older generations. That's how we're used to, but the kids are playing video games all the time, and they're used to looking at advertisements within social media. That's the second point. But before I go to the second point, it's all about capturing a younger audience, and that's what um, brands and organizations wants to do. And to give you an example, we were recently in discussions with a charity that came to us and wanted to actually capture the younger audience because their population in quotations was aging. Okay, and we're going through the strategy as we speak in order to help them create an experience in which they can capture the younger audience. That's number one. Number two, how do you capture the younger audience? Obviously, through experiences and through advertising. And that's what you want to do. You want to advertise and you want to showcase your products in an interesting way within the metaverse. And to do that, it's not only about putting a billboard out, although we do like billboards sometimes. It's all about the data that you can gather with it. Okay, what other information can you get? Can you get how many people looked at your um, billboard? How can you get how many people passed by your billboard? Can you get how many people actually clicked on your website? That's the kind of metrics you should be able to track, which is, standard metrics from your metaverse platform in order for that to be successful and have an interesting campaign. And I could dive into other areas as well, like um, create more immersive experiences in order to give back to the community rather than taking, since communities right now want to be involved, number one, and want to participate in the brands, be part of them, and want to have a more active role. And by giving them an immersive space, they will be able to feel like they're more active in the brands that they love. So those are three topics that I'm thinking out of the top of my head on how can brands actually engage uh, with their audience through the medium of metaverse.
Wow, huge things are happening in Renovi soon, guys. So, how does Renovi view the concept of digital identity within the metaverse? What measures are being taken to protect user privacy and prevent identity theft or fraud?
Interesting. So, although it cannot help us Renovi with identity theft or fraud, it's a really interesting topic because your digital identity is probably more exposed and more out there than your personal self. Imagine how many people you might see you on Instagram or on Twitter that you might never seen in real life before. So
True.
your digital identity, yeah. So your digital identity is really important, and we need to take serious care of it, right? And how many times we've seen others impersonate ourselves and then create scams and so on. So obviously, that's a really important topic. That's not a topic directly related to Renovi when it comes to how can we ensure we protect digital identity. Uh, but as people that love the metaverse, we're always vigilant and mindful and helpful on the topic if ever needed to for us to take action.
All right, thank you for that, Adonis. That concludes our intro questions, guys. So now you can chat your questions in our AMA questions channel in Telegram. And Adonis, we already have Will's question.
Will and Zach, let's go. Will, will we see Renovi expanding the use case of Renovi tokens or maybe Renovi card, a Renovi card, of course, with some unique perks and discounts in the real world purchases? That's really interesting. Um, Here's how I see it. If at some point we can create so many experiences for so many stores, um, and those experiences are important enough to a vast number of users, both in Web3 but also in Web2, then there's an interesting question to be had as to how can we use Renovi token to make purchases within those stores in those metaverse platforms. That would be really interesting, and I would love to see that. But that remains too far into the future. Although such a good question about Renovi card, maybe not for now, but who knows? Maybe a loyalty card, some sort for sure. Zach, can you share insights into the methods or techniques that Renovi employs to authenticate and verify user identities in the metaverse while maintaining a seamless and user-friendly experience? Really interesting question. So I will say it's not up to us to authenticate or verify user identities. Um, that's up to the metaverse. But if at some point we start offering more complex methods of joining our platform rather than a simple email and login, that would be a really interesting topic to dive into. Is like, how can you um, connect to our hub in a decentralized way, but also be able to verify your identity in order to prove that you might own certain assets or that you have provided certain assets and go from there. Something we should be looking at in the near future as our platform progresses, for sure. Really interesting questions, man.
All right, are there any more questions, guys? Just general. Maybe you have some questions for Adonis?
I guess not, man. I guess not.
All right.
But it's not a problem. It's not a problem.
Sorry, sorry
I
for
will.
now.
Oh,
Sorry
Oh,
for now.
there he is.
For now, I don't have.
there he is.
For now, I don't have one, but I mean, I just want to give kudos to the graphic design team. I've been seeing a lot of impressive designs these 2 days back, and it's really impressive.
Sorry, man. I cannot hear you really well. Jay, can you hear the question?
I can I can hear.
So if you could let me
Can you hear me
know
now?
what. Ah, that's a bit better. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
better.
Yeah, I said for now, I don't really have a question, but I just wanted to give kudos to the graphic design team. I've been seeing a lot of impressive content over there. I just want to say it's really, really nice and it's really, really impressive and more to come ahead. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much. And we're gonna have more and more designs, that's for sure, from our community, from people we're gonna find along the way, from more designers. As Renovi Hub is becoming more and more popular, I am 100% sure we will be able to secure on the platform a lot more amazing designs. Um, so for sure. But I will say for today, the question that wins is probably wheels. I
All
think that's
right.
the favorite question of the day.
Adonis, Zach has a last question for
Ooh,
you about the nerve gear.
oh, so can I, 1 second, I will read it. There you go. Can I still ask the question from the previous MMA? You weren't able to give me an immediate response on this. Okay, I know it might sound outlandish, but what are your thoughts on making nerve gear, sport or light anime reference a reality, especially that people want to? Uh, I totally forgot about that. I'm not gonna lie. So we said last time, was that an immersive experience or is that a hardware? So if it's a hardware, and I do apologize if I'm totally outside of the topic, right? Um, if that's a hardware that we need to create, then I would say probably that's outside our scope. But if that is a virtual experience, I'm sure at some point we can create a competition around it and create something like that. That wouldn't be too far outside of our scope to create.
Adonis, if I
What do you
can
think,
add to
Zach?
that,
Mm-hmm.
it's a full
Yeah.
immersive experience where you can actually feel pain or you can actually die.
Okay. That's a bit too much. Die for sure, man. Really, Jay? Well, I wouldn't want to die in the metaverse and then die in real life, that's for sure. But if you're talking about a suit, for example, that you can feel the pain while you're getting shot and everything, oh man, that would be really amazing. I don't think Renovi will create it, but I've seen quite a couple of suits, um, and they are freaking awesome. I cannot wait to get my hands on one. And I even know there's this headset in Japan, just for Japan actually, for the lovers of VR chat. So in VR chat, it's really common for somebody to pat somebody's head, right? And that's how you show that you're friendly with somebody else. And they created this headset that the only thing that it does, it makes you feel if somebody is patting your head, which is really funny. But as it seems, there's demand for it in Japan, which is really cool. So when it comes to these kind of suits, I've seen some on GoFundMe and other platforms that you fund individual projects. So they're definitely really interesting. Um, we're not gonna create one, but I would love to wear one.
Wow, that's so interesting. I might as well have my own research on that.
Mm. Man, it's really interesting. If you go down the rabbit hole of these suits and what you can wear, oh my days, it's amazing.
We're in the future.
100%, man.
So, yeah, that was our last question for the day, guys. So, that's it for our Alpha Tuesdays. Thank you so much for everyone who joined. This is such an intimate AMA, and both I and Adonis loved it. So, before we go, guys,
Absolutely.
I'd like to ask for some final words and wisdom from Adonis himself.
Oh man, okay, this is my wisdom. Couple of updates. Number one, I cannot wait for the conference by Apple in order to see if the headset is coming out. Number two, have you seen what Improbable is doing in the metaverse? That's really cool. They're talking about mini metaverse experiences that you can open as websites. I cannot freaking wait. And number three, have a wild night or day in the metaverse.
All right, that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for joining, and good night, everyone.
Thank you and good night.